Chapter 24, Data Interpretation, page 196. This chapter is a little tedious. I believe you could do it on your own, but of course the video is here to help you if you need the help. Some key points: we're going to look at the components of bar graphs, find the information about the data, and calculate the measures of the center. I'm hoping that we can all read graphs very carefully. Please make sure we're being very particular in the intervals. First thing, before I even read the question, my mind's going straight to the graph itself, and I just want to label it. I'm going to label it by pieces, of course. We're making sure we just label it real nice and neat. 20, 15, 10, 25, 15, 20, 30, 20, 15, and then 25, 20, 20. Okay. The number of points scored per game by 3 basketball players for 4 different games is shown. So these are 4 games with the 3 different players, Jacob, Macy, and Sean. Based on the graph, which of the following statements is true? Right here, keyword is average. So if we're doing average per player, we would have to pull out all these numbers, add them up, divided by the amount of games, which is 4, and then talk about it in point blank. But answer A is saying the average number of points scored by the 3 players. So with the 3 players coming down straight, that means I'm only focusing average here, average here, average here, average here. Was 20 points, game 2. So if I get these 3 real fast, game 2 is 25, 20, and move up a little bit. And 15. Add them up real fast. That's 10, 60. There's 3 players, so I take 60 divided by 3. That gives me 20 points. That looks pretty good. A looks nice. And then I would just do the rest for each one. Let's try game 1. Is game 1 20 points? 20, 15, and 10. Add those real fast. 0, 5, 0, which is 5. 2, 3, 4. Divided by 3 is 15. Is this 20 points? No. I'm not going to do the rest just because it's very straightforward. If you check each one by each one, you'll see that none of them are true except letter A. Okay? Moving on to the groundwork. Of course, don't forget you can pause the video, fast forward, however you see fit. The groundwork. Use the image to answer the questions below. Of course, just looking at this, I can see it's going by years and it's increasing, and it says right there in millions. Okay. The second piece are bar graphs in thousands, but I want us to pay attention to something very particular in just a second. How many sales did Global Gazette make? Looking at Global Gazette. Interesting. Looking at Global Gazette. Global Gazette. Okay, this is Global Gazette, so we're looking at the bar graph. How many sales did they make? It's right here in the middle between 440 and 450, so I'm going to say 445,000. Why am I putting 1,000? Because keywords in thousands. How many sales did Daily Review make? Looking at Daily Reviews, very top. It's about 485, maybe 490. I'm going to go with the middle, which is 485,000. The bar graphs
The bars on the graph make it look like the Daily Review made over twice as many sales as the Global Gazette. Was this actually the case? Was it true? Why does it look like the Daily Review made twice as much as the Global Gazette?
This case is going to be no.
Because if you look at the y-axis, the graph where it's labeled in Gazettes, it doesn't start out at 0. It starts at 420. So if this graph was starting at 0, we would see something completely different.
So my key piece of advice: analyze every piece of the graph.
I know we're a lot of GT, very smart kids, but we want to make sure we're taking our time because we could very easily miss that. We think, okay, this is smaller, this is bigger, this looks 2 times. Okay, check mark. But in fact, we look at this very specifically, even after we make the marks, there's only a $40,000 difference.
And if we were going to say double this, we'd be looking at close to $890,000, which is not even close
to what we got right here from the Daily Review. Okay.
Moving on to the next piece.
You can pause the video if you need to.
Using the graphs below. First things first, I would try and label my graphs. Oh, this is pretty difficult because the labeling's not very nice. Okay,
so can't really label because it's a little bit above 100. Not sure if that's 110. It's a little bit over 80 and so on and so forth. So it's a little hard to label. So let's look at the questions. What was Mark's score in game 3? Game 3, Mark is the middle graph.
Okay, this is right on the money, 100. Not too difficult. Leo's score in game 2. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this because I'm not sure. This looks right in the middle, which would be 90, but it's not very nice, but we can go with 90.
What was the average of everyone's score in game 2?
Game 2. Very, very difficult to tell. We're just going to have to assume there's 190. I guess you would say 95. So we'll just make our life a little easy and just say 95.
Get the 3 scores.
We got 95 for Jared, 100 for Mark, and 90 for Leo. Add them all together. 5, 18, carry the 1, 2, divided by 3, use your calculator, and you get 95 as an average.
Again, very hard to use this particular graph just because I'm not very happy with the way that the graphs are labeled and the axes are not labeled very carefully, so just be very careful. I'm sure the day of the test it'd be labeled a little bit easier.
Okay, moving on to application. Two more questions and then you have practice.
We're at 9 minutes, taking our time. Okay. Right away,
I see my graphs. I'm gonna want to start labeling because I can. This one looks nice, 30. This one's 20. I'm assuming this one's 25. Assumptions. This one's pretty good, 55. 45. 35. 60. 35 and 40. 40. 20 and 30.
Let's read the question. Based on the information in the graph, which of the following statements is true? Bailey's tip average across all 4 days was $48.25.
Attendance to cafeteria.
Bailey's right here. So we're looking at the first set. So I'm looking at 30, 55, 60, and 40. Let's look it up. You know what? And I'll just be more advanced in wanting to just find the average of each of them, because that's what it looks like, because the questions are going by their names. So Bailey is 30, 55, 60, and another 40. 5 in the first column, 10, 15, 18. And we're dividing this by 4 days. So that gives me, I don't have a calculator. It should be 46.25. So does that match that? No, letter A is not correct. Natasha. I'm just doing it just to be productive, because you never know. 25, 45, 35, and 20, 15, 3, 7, 10, 12, divided by 4 gives me 30 and 25 cents, I think. 31.25, sorry. And then I'll do Julissa here on the bottom. Julissa is 20, 35, 40, and 30. Five. Ooh, 5, 9, 12. Oh, it's the exact same thing as Natasha. So 31.25 as well. This is 31.25, which does not match the ad, so that's not B. Natasha's tip across all 4 days is greater than Bailey's. 31 is not greater than 46, so that's not true. Natasha's tip across all 4 days is the same as Julissa. That is true. So we do need to, in certain cases, just be proactive and attack the problem the way we should. Moving on, if you need a pause, please pause. Last one, and then you have your practice. Looking at some grades. This is a pretty nice bar graph, so I'm just going to start labeling already. 90, 85, 75, 80, 75, 70, 90, 75, 75, 80, 90, 70. Okay, not too bad. And of course, just because I do want to be proactive, I'm already going to do the averages of each student. So Rita, really fast. Do it off to the side. Rita is 90, 80, 90, 80. Zeros. 18 and 16, that's 34. Divided by 4 grades. 340 divided by 4, that gives me 85. I'll leave it right here, 85. Liam's next. Liam is middle, 85, 75, 75, 90, 15, 10, 24, 32, I believe, divided by 4,
That should give me 81.25. Right there, right here.
And then I'm going to do Joseph on the right-hand side.
Again, if you're getting ahead of me, that is perfectly fine. Joseph is 75, 70, 75, 70, 10, 28, 9, divided by 4. That's going to give me 72.5.
And then we read very carefully. Based on the information on the graph,
Which is true. Rita's grades across are 81.25. Not true. Liam's average across all 4 grades is the same as Joseph. Not true. Joseph across all 4 was 72.50. That looks good. Rita's grade across all 4 grades is 10 points higher than Liam's. I wonder if it's talking about exact. Oh no, 85. It's only like a 3-point difference, so not true. I was thinking something else.
all right. So you have your practice at the school end of the Schoology folder. Please complete that. Check to see if you're good to go, and then you'll be on to chapter 25. Thank you.